Hello to all cinema fans. This is Film Anatomy. In this video we are going to talk about an enjoyable and important series which many have been waiting for, and it's recently started on screens. But, before we start with the series, if it's the first time you're watching a video from Film Anatomy, I recommend you to first subscribe, because we are going to broadcast more fascinating videos about cinema. You may have recently heard about The Last of Us or might be watching it. In this video we are going to talk about 4 topics of this series. 1. What is the background of The Last of Us, and how it was created? 2. What is the story of The Last of Us? 3. Who are the cast and crew of the series? 4. Is the fungal virus real or not? Part 1. Background. This series is an adaptation of a video game of the same name. The first edition of the game was released exclusively for PlayStation. It was sold out more than $1,030,000 only in the first week. This was not the only success of the game. The Last of Us was on everyone's lips who were into video games, or Apocalypse World for months. The game's continuing success made its creators to consider making the second part of the game. The second part was ultimately released in 2020 and the fans were delighted to hear it. Generally, we can name some of the key reasons why the game was successful, such as the great story and intriguing narration that are followed by the gamers in third-person perspective. Multimodal characters each possessing their own characteristics which are challenged when faced with chosen dilemmas. And an apocalyptic world with many details immersing everyone. Amazing action scenes, and importantly, fighting with zombies. Such great and intriguing story and world are popular among the Hollywood series and filmmakers. The film also has the potential to be screened on theaters or on TV. This was what the fans have been looking forward to. The initial idea was to make The Last of Us into a movie, but the movie's complicated story and its length led it to a cancellation, and ultimately the series was made. I want to give a good news to The Last of Us game fans, that the creators are probably going to make The Last of Us Part 3. Second part, the story and narration. The Last of Us is produced by HBO Company according to its producers. The series remains remarkably faithful to the story beats of the game, including story, narration and the characters. In some places, they made a crucial change in the game, which is the narrative form in cinema based on the movie form. Like in the game, in The Last of Us a mass fungal infection got spread to the entire world, and sparked a global pandemic. Humans mutate, and lose their brains, having no control on their behavior and instinct, so they turn into zombies. Now, 20 years after the mass infection, in a world left in ruins with civilization that has been destroyed, a group named Fireflies, leading by Marlene, still believes that they can fight against the virus, and recreate the civilization as it was like pre-apocalypse world. In the video game story, among those who managed to survive the infection, there is a 14-year-old girl named Ellie who was suddenly attacked by zombies and got injured. The virus is supposed to turn her into one of them genetically, but she doesn't become one herself, and turns out that she is amazingly immune to the infection. Ellie meets Marlene and eventually finds out about Ellie's immunity. This is satisfying and uplifting, as Marlene believes that the secret of saving the humanity and returning to the civilization is in Ellie. Marlene tasks Joel and Tess with smuggling Ellie to the Fireflies laboratory to help her be treated and find a cure for the virus. There are some similarities in the central narrative of between the game and the series, as both start with Joel. Joel loses his teenage daughter Sarah in an accident when the pandemic first breaks out and some people get infected. In the first episode, all information given to the audience is pre-stories, and introductions is going to be more complete in the following episodes. The story precisely begins from the second episode when, on their way of taking Ellie to the appointed place of the Fireflies. The characters, Joel, Tess and Ellie, have to be cautious about zombies attacks as well as the people who are looking for the antidote. These people are self-serving who try to get their hands on the antidote, on the other hand the elixir. Another point to take into account is that the series is not going to be featured only for gamers, but for audiences with diverse range of ages. On the other hand, the mediums between game and cinema are different. The narration in each medium should be based on its own structure and rules. There might be some assumptions in game that lead the story, but in the cinema, on the other hand, such assumptions should be created. That's why in The Last of Us some of the hypotheses like the relationship between Joel and Sarah should be made. Likewise, at the beginning of the episode, a particular length of time is served to describe the depth of the father-daughter relationship. The showrunners asked the series stars, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, not to play the game ahead of joining the show. The possible reason behind it would be the medium difference between the game and movie. The actor should be able to get a feel of her role and understand the character better by the director during the auditions. If the actor has some presuppositions of the character, their role would be an exact replica of the character of the game. However, in a game world, the audience accepts the world in which the game is taking place through stepping into the game landscape. In series, however, this world is made through its own details and rules. This is why Joel and Sarah are taken out of the house for particular reasons for the audience to see the neat, alive and ordered world outside, so that they may conceive the scary post-apocalyptic world where human civilization has been destroyed by the virus. The series aims to create an artistic and fascinating work independent of the game version and stand on its own. And good news for the show's fans, HBO confirmed that there will be a second season for The Last of Us. Third part, cast and crew. The series is created by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann is the creator of the both versions of The Last of Us game. Alongside Druckmann, Craig Mazin was named to help write the series. Neil Druckmann as the co-writer would be the strong point of the series due to his having a good command of the story and the characters as the writer. Craig Mazin as the creator of Chernobyl has a relevant and good experience in creating apocalyptic landscape. It is worth mentioning that most of the series and the film adaptations of video games have failed to attract the audiences. However, like games, a few series or movie have been successful at attracting the audience to them and have brought their creators a good profit. A lot of reasons can be mentioned for the failure of such works as well as the adaptation principles for movies and series that we will come back to, so I recommend you to subscribe so that you won't lose the video. Since the beginning of the series production, many actors have joined the project to play a role. Pedro Pascal stars as Joel. We know Pedro Pascal through his starring in Game of Thrones as Oberyn Martell, which attracted many attentions to himself. Afterwards, he played the main role in Mandalorian series, which is one of the sequels of the Star Wars. Many think selecting Pedro Pascal as Joel was a wrong choice, but I think through the time, we will see his good performance, because his experience proved he is a capable actor. Nico Parker stars as Sarah, Joel's daughter. Sarah is the integral character in the intro of both the game and the series. Nico Parker is Thandie Newton's daughter, whom we have seen her in live-action Dumbo. She does a very good job as the supporting role with Pedro Pascal. Her character at the beginning of the show has a significant effect on changing Joel within 20 years while beneath the surface. Sarah is everywhere. In the game, Sarah's loss leads Joel and Ellie to be closer. 20 years after the outbreak of the infection, we see Anna Torv, the Australian actress, as Tess with Joel. Sci-fi enthusiasts should know her best from the series Fringe and Mindhunter, where she played the leading roles. At the end of the first episode, Tess is the one who convinces Joel to take on the Ellie job. In the game and the show, Joel has a brother named Tommy. Gabriel Luna plays Tommy Miller, the brother of Joel. Gabriel Luna is probably best known as playing Ghost Rider in Marvel's television series, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tommy, unlike his brother Joel, who doesn't have an idealistic belief, believes in humanity and reconstruction of society. After 20 years, it seems that Tommy joined the Fireflies and has gone missing for days. Now that Joel thinks he may have encountered a problem, so manages to seek out for Tommy to face it, and he also has to take care of Ellie. Tommy, like Sarah, is a supporting character who affects Joel's decisions a lot. Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies. She is a fighting, fearless and determined woman who manages to resist against Fedra, whose sole purpose is to control what's left of the human population using force. She spends 20 years of her life trying to save the humanity. Merle Dandridge portrays Marlene. It's worth noting that Merle Dandridge voiced the role of Marlene in the video game version. Having Merle Dandridge play the role of Marlene was a smart choice, since she knows every aspect of Marlene's character more than anyone else, and can reprise her role well. And the key character of the show, Ellie. Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal both starred in Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, Bella Ramsey with her young age demonstrated that she could play Lyanna Mormont, a tough, fierce and fighting girl who was the head of House Mormont. She has soon become popular among her audiences and fans after her exquisite performance. Her great talent in playing this kind of role led her to be cast into the role of Ellie in The Last of Us. Many of The Last of Us fans consider this choice wrong, but in the first episode, we saw that she can play this significant and hard part well. At the beginning of the video game, there is a character named Bill, who is played by Nick Offerman in the series. In the game, he lives alone in Jackson and he is a trap master. Though Bill has a deal with Joel and Tess, he is paranoid about them. At the beginning, Con O'Neill was initially cast in the role, but ultimately Nick Offerman had the role as he is known as a comedic actor. The other main character in the video game, that is said to be in the show, is Riley. Riley is Ellie's best friend. Riley is a key figure in the events of the Left Behind content for the video game. Ellie and Riley had an exciting adventure in an abandoned store. This means that we will expect some scenes of Ellie and Riley being together. Storm Reed plays Riley in The Last of Us. We have most likely seen her in series Euphoria, and the movie A Wrinkle in Time. One of the things we know about The Last of Us game is its standalone and unique music. The video game soundtrack was composed by musician Gustavo Santaolalla. Part 4: The Fungal Pandemic. The show opens in the year 1968, on a television talk show where an epidemiologist talks about the danger of a parasitic fungal pandemic that can stop the human's brain working and control the body of billions of humans. Billions of puppets in poisoned minds. The fungi have neither cure nor precautions. In an interview, Craig Mazin stressed, "It is real. It is true to the extent that whatever it says mushrooms do, they do." There are some notable documentaries that you can watch that are pretty scary now. His warning. What if they evolve and enter us? From a purely scientific point of view, would they do to us exactly what they do to ants? I do not think, Mazin said. In this interview, Mazin revealed that according to the scientists, LSD and psilocybin come from mushrooms. The show is based on real science. On the other hand, he's right. LSD and psilocybin come from mushrooms. What I said to John was, what we're doing in this scene is telling people that this has always been here. This sequence is a brilliant and gripping inauguration. The information given to the audience by the scientists, who have scientific position, and the surprised faces of studio audiences, are exactly the feelings that the showrunners intend to evoke in the series audience in which they were successful. If you liked this video, please click on like and comment your opinions. Please subscribe the channel and look forward to the next video. See you soon.